This video is sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com. Be sure to use the code STACK at checkout to save 5% off on your order, and you'll help support the show. Alright, I know we're all burnt out. I know no one's excited about Brothers War. I know we're all thinking about, how Bank of America did the big news thing and it plummeted Hasbro stock, and that means something for Magic product. The entire time I was reading all those posts, they were putting Bank of America into acronyms, BOFA. So I'm just like, BOFA, is this am I missing some joke? Both of these nuts? We're all burnt out. I know. I get it. I'm also burnt out. I don't really care that much about the Brothers War singles, right? But there are still things that give me life. There are still things that motivate me to exist. And yes, that's the fact that I can cast Optimus Prime. It's hilarious. We're gonna talk about the Transformers cards today. They are released. They do stuff. Some of them are pretty good. None of them are oppressively designed such that you have to have them in your commander decks, even have to have them in your artifact decks. But there's a couple that are, unique and fun, and I think there's more than meets the eye to them, We're going to quickly overview them. We're going to talk about what each of them does. We're going to talk about, is it good as a commander? Is it good in the 99? Then by the end of the video, you'll know which ones are my favorite. That's it. That's the point of today's video. Also, the point of today's video is for me to snap my fingers to do a transition so that you watch this. This video is sponsored by Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lards, lords, and ladies in English. So when you buy a title pack, which give at least a square foot of land, they bestow it to you with the title Lord or Lady. This one's mine. I'll do it over here because that's where the camera's set up. You can see right here, yeah, right there. That says Lord Trigger, and all the way down here, I got the unique plot number, right? All of this is proof that I'm a lord. They plant a tree of every order, working with charities such as One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. And in exchange for helping this green initiative, you get to officially put the title of Lord or Lady on your credit card or plane tickets, making this a great last-minute gift. The first 200 people that buy title packs using the link in the description will be given plots next to ours, effectively making us neighbors. So while a title pack technically does not give you the right to rule, nor does it give you any benefits of being a part of any royal family, if enough of us become lords or ladies, we can all band together, start our own little stack kingdom, right? And then we can start the official stack royal court. I've researched this bit for 3 hours last night. You're gonna have to suffer with me. I'm still the king, obviously, but I've also decided I'm the master of ceremonies. If you get in now, you can get grand titles such as Cupbearer or Master of the Horse. But the Royal Fool is still our mod Matteo. The Royal Confessor, I've decided, is our mod Sunny Slash because I'm very funny. Adrian is the Chapel Master because I'm a man of incredible foresight. Ajdin is the Almoner because I'm irony poisoned 3 layers deep. And guys, he has the official title of the Butler. If you go to their website to get in on their massive Black Friday sale, you can use the code LORDTRIGGER, that's LORD TTRGR, to get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/LordTrigger to get your gifts now and help support the channel. And we're back. Couple things to note before we get started. First of all the Transformer cards are double-faced cards. There's a front side and the back side. Surprise! There's more than meets the eye to them, which is point number 2. All of them have an alternate casting cost, which has all the same colors as the front side, but lets you cast the back side immediately. They enter transformed. Also, they don't technically enter transformed, they enter converted. All of the Transformers have a play pattern where they convert from the front side to the back side, because that's what you do with the toy, right? Now, I don't know why the Transformers don't transform. I assume it's a legal reason, but whenever I say the word convert, it means the same thing as transform, basically. Most of the backsides have living metal. Most of them are vehicles on the backside. As a living metal vehicle, they are creatures on your turn and not creatures on anyone else's turn. That's it. That's really all. They don't have a crew cost. You don't need to crew the Transformer. They are robots in disguise. So, as we go over the top 5, we're going to try and talk about the play patterns, bring up any notable interactions or cards that you should add to these decks if you want to build these for yourself. Or I'm just going to be an absolute shitlord and just joke all over the place. And yeah, because this is the top 5 commander list, all of these I'm saying you should play as your commander. Any of these would be good in the 99 of your decks, right? But before we get into the top 5, a couple honorable mentions that I just want to get out of the way because there's more than 5 that are worth at least showing the picture to your face. And the first one being something that I would not play as a commander, but I would play in the 99 of any artifact deck when I'm running. And that's Ratchet, Field Medic. He's a 3-drop on the front, a 2-drop on the back, and he has this play pattern where he reanimates artifacts from your graveyard if you gain life. Technically, he fuels himself. He has lifelink on both the front and the back side, right? And that's enough to get like the smaller artifacts. I wouldn't run him as my commander, but he's absolutely hilarious in Gaea, who has an activated ability that would trigger his backside that can gain you 5 life to trigger his front side, that can reanimate Gaea herself. Gaea and Ratchet Field Medic were a match made in heaven, and I think that's great. I also have the honorable mention Goldbug, humanity's ally, and I do not want to go over all of his abilities because his play pattern asks that you play human tribal with him as the commander. Somewhere in that card says draw a card. Somewhere in this legendary creature that Wizards of the Coast wants you to play as their commander, for weird tribal, they have draw a card on it. That's how they're gonna get you. I also have Flame War Brash Veteran on my honorable mention list. She's a Rakdos creature that I think is probably worthwhile as a commander for someone. I'm a bit turned off by the fact that she cannot convert back to her backside at instant speed. She can't do it. It has to be sorcery. Activate only as a sorcery. Otherwise, she is a commander that is fueling up on intel to eventually, once you've run out of other resources, collect all the intel and suddenly you're fucking loaded. I think the play pattern to Flame War Brash Veteran is actually very, very cool. If you want to surprise someone, because I think the other ones are way more noteworthy, try building her first. Prove me wrong. I want you to prove me wrong in the comments below. Oh, and last honorable mention is Soundwave Sonic Spy. I have to actually call him out because he is a 3-color legendary creature here. There's 4 3-color legendary creatures, and each of them kind of want to be the commander because they offer you the most colors. They give you the most toys. He does something pretty interesting. He can cast people's instants and sorceries from their graveyard if you can deal precisely enough combat damage with creature tokens. And I've played him, and in my experience, he requires a lot of work to let him do anything. If that game felt good at all for me in any way, it was because I was playing a white-black deck, but I had blue for extra consistency. For all that out of the way, number 5 on my these are the top 5 Transformer cards that you should try as a commander because you want to have fun again in this game. I have Megatron Tyrant. Megatron Tyrant is a fucking 6-drop Mardu legendary artifact creature, so red, white, and black. And his front side is a 7/5 for 6 mana with your opponents can't cast spells during combat, and at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may convert Megatron. If you do, add colors for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. The backside, which costs 4 to go straight into with more than meets the eye, is a 4/5 with living metal, right? And whenever Megatron attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact. When you do, Megatron deals damage equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value to target creature. Then, if excess damage would be dealt to the creature this way, instead, that damage is dealt to the creature's controller, and you convert Megatron. So, he costs kind of a lot of mana and asks that you have enough early drop artifacts to sacrifice in order to get a payoff in a combat that isn't immediate. You are in red, so maybe you can get haste somewhere. But then that payoff is to give you a bunch of colorless mana to hopefully dump into a big spell in your hand. He needs low drops and he needs high drop payoffs. I'll be honest, I'm really intimidated by trying to make Megatron work. To clarify, the play pattern is you drop him on 4, and if you don't have haste, you gotta wait till the next turn. If you do have haste, you're gonna need an artifact that you already played that gets to do the thing. Let's say we drop him on 4, and then the turn after we play a Solemn Simulacrum, right? The backside attacks, you sack the Solemn, deal 4 damage to a creature with less than 4 toughness. Then that excess damage dealt to the controller flips Megatron, and now he's a 7/5, and your opponents can't cast spells right now. They could have cast spells before, they knew what was coming, so like that's not really protection. But if you got that far, the fact that you dealt any excess damage at all, even if your creature, none of your combating creatures connect, you will at least get that much mana into your mana pool in your post-combat main phase. He always works, so that's why he's number 5. He does always work. At number 4, I have Slicer, Hired Muscle. Slicer is a 5-drop mono red artifact creature, right? Front costs 5, the backside costs 3, and he's mono red. The front side is a 3/4 with double strike and haste, and at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you may have that player gain control of Slicer until end of turn. If you do, untap Slicer, goad him, and it can't be sacrificed this turn. If you don't, convert him. And then the backside, which costs 3, is a 3/2 first strike haste with living metal, and whenever he deals combat damage to a player, convert him at end of combat. I find the play pattern to Slicer actually really engaging, and I see him as one of the more interesting mono red commanders that they've printed in a long while. I might be wrong on that. I don't look at a lot of monocolored commanders. Cast him for 3 on the backside, and he can immediately hit. He has haste, right? He's only gonna deal 3 damage, but now he's on the front side. Technically, you kind of spent 3 mana to play a 5-drop. That's kind of cool. More importantly, though, you pass a turn. opponent's upkeep. You get a Slicer. Here you go. That's a 3/4 double strike and haste that can't attack you, the owner of Slicer. He's still a commander. He's still dealing commander damage. Suddenly, you're putting an interesting clock on the table against your opponents as they are compelled to hit each other with Slicer hired muscle. But then, and this is the engaging part for me, you get to decide every turn, hey, do you want to give the Slicer or not? If you decide no, because you can do that, because, you know, if he does get blocked for enough damage, he will die. You convert him, which means we're on an opponent's turn, and he gets converted to the backside, which is not a creature, which means now you can play spells at instant speed like Mammothquake. Your Slicer's fine because he's not a creature. He'd drive away from the Earthquake. That doesn't make sense. Don't worry about it. And I just think that's amazing. He has baked in him a way to put a clock on the whole table and protect himself to allow you to support that clock with instant speed red based board wipes. I think that's neat. Number 3 on my list, and honestly, just for the fucking memes, he should probably be higher. Where the fuck is he on my computer? Honestly, he would be higher on this list just for the memes alone, but I need some integrity and like actually tell you who the best commander is at the very end. Number 3, we have Starscream, Power Hungry. He is a black 4-drop on the front and a 3-drop on the back. On the front, he's a 2/3 with flying, and whenever you draw a card, if you're the monarch, target opponent loses 2 life. And then, whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, convert Starscream. The backside, which costs 3, is a 2/3 living metal airplane thing with flying, menace, and haste. And whenever Starscream deals combat damage to a player, if there is no monarch, that player becomes the monarch. And then whenever you become the monarch, convert Starscream. So you got this legendary creature, right? He has Scream in his name. The first thing he does when he bolts into the battlefield, right, is he bestows upon someone royalty. You are the king, but now I gotta beat the shit out of you. So now he's gonna usurp the throne from you the next combat, and now he's the monarch. Once monarch is introduced, that's when the play pattern begins, right? The play pattern from there, like once you become the monarch, he flips and the monarch draw a card trigger, you get to do the 2 life drain, right? But now any black instant speed draw card effect is gonna keep on draining. He doesn't drain when you draw the monarch card. So long as you're the king, any card you get will fucking burn the board, or burn someone, I guess. But then if someone takes the monarch from you, he goes back to being the flying menace haste thing. And there's just, he has Scream in the name. He screams! I think he's great. Wouldn't you want to bestow royalty onto someone, only to usurp the throne from them later? At number 2, we have Ultra Magnus Tactician. Oh, he is a Naya 7-drop on the front and a 5-drop on the back. Thank God we're only doing the top 5, because then I don't have to do my dumb joke about my least favorite archetype, green-red artifacts. We have white here to help us. As a 7-drop on the front, he is a 7/7 with Ward 2, and whenever he attacks, you may put an artifact creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. If you do, convert Ultra Magnus at end of combat. And then the backside, which costs 5, if you remember, he's a 4/7 living metal with haste, and whenever Ultra Magnus attacks, attacking creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. There's no clause, he just needs to attack, and he has haste, so you get that. And then, if those creatures have total power, 8 or greater, convert Ultra Magnus. He counts himself, so your other attacking creatures need to have at least 4 power. He costs 5. At some point, you had to get 4 power into play before you drop your 5-drop. I'm sure you'll get there. I think he's great. I think he's hilarious. I think he's awesome. The biggest drawback to Ultra Magnus is you have to put a artifact creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking, and that's kind of stinky. But he just pressures the board, and I love that. I love that. 5 mana, that combat you have at 5, it's indestructible. There's no blocking they can do, no matter what they had. Chump, 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 right? Find a way for trample, you're in green. And then, he becomes the 7/7 on the flip. So if you had at least 8 power, now you have 11. The flip gives him Ward 2, right? And if you can get that turn cycle back around, here's a Blightsteel. This guy is the best Blightsteel Colossus commander out of the Transformer set. Hands down. Just into play. Absolutely fantastic. I like him. And then, number 1 on the list of the best Transformer commanders from the Transformer stuff. This is the one that I actually want to build, put in my collection, have it as do the hot shit. You guessed it. Why would it not be? It's fucking Optimus Prime. Everyone's so angry about, I don't want to open an Optimus Prime in my Magic the Gathering product. Well, you know what? Fuck you. I do. I want Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime is a 6-drop, and if you were to read it in the Magic way, he is blue, red, and white. But we are true patriots here, and we know he is a 6-drop red, white, and blue commander. He is a 6-drop American hero on the front side, and a 5-drop American hero on the back. On the front side, he is a 4/8 with, at the beginning of each end step, bolster 1. He will support the lowest of the low in your commanding army. He will support the smallest fry. And then, when Optimus Prime dies, return it to the battlefield converted under its owner's control. That's right, he cannot die. The true American hero taking after Jesus Christ himself. On the backside, which costs 5 mana if you remember, still an American hero in its colors. He is a 6/8 with trample, and whenever you attack, bolster 2. The chosen creature gains trample until end of turn. When that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, convert Optimus Prime. That's a lot of bolstering that's happening right there. Let me tell you about the play pattern. The play pattern is very straightforward. You come down, guns a-blazing. I'm Optimus Prime. I'm here. You cast that 6-drop. You have the mana. You paid your taxes. You can pay this. And then you get this 6-drop 4/8 into play. At the end of your turn, you bolster 1. Something gets bigger. If it's just him, if he's the only guy in play, he gets 1 bigger. And then it's the next opponent's turn, but he'll get 1 bigger on his end step. Because we are America here and we get a little more on everyone's turn. So he gets 1 bigger on the next turn, and then 1 bigger on the next turn, and then 1 bigger on the next turn, and then it comes back to your turn if nothing happened. If nothing happened, he is an 8/12. He's an 8/12. He's gonna hit someone for 8, and that's amazing. But you're not planning for that. No. Optimus Prime hero is never gonna hit someone himself. That truck, the Autobot leader, that guy's gonna hit. Because here's what you're gonna do, buddy. Here's what you're gonna do. You're in blue. You can control. You can make sure you can set up the board so that this works the way you want, right? You make sure Optimus Prime hero, when he enters play, you have the mana to cast Flame. That's right, buddy. The turn before you untap, on that end step, bolster trigger, he becomes an 8/12. Then you can cast Flame. Flame. Hit someone for 8 damage. Send that missile to someone, baby. It's Optimus Prime body himself. And when you fling Optimus Prime, and I'm sure there's more than just creature flames, you can get those artifact flings as well. He comes back. He comes back as the truck. He never left. And you untap, and he can attack. Because you had him at the beginning of your turn. The 6/8 with trample, attack, bolster 2, and 8/10 with trample. If it does any combat damage, flip him again. Now you have a 6/10. It'll be a 7/11 on your end step. And I can't think of any more patriotic thing to happen than have a 7/11 on your end step. And you have all your mana. I hope you have another fling. Put a fling on Isochron Scepter. Oh, I gotta build a deck now. That's all I got for you guys. Oh my god. Optimus Prime is the most exciting one. I'm all for the fucking meme. Ooh, baby. I'll catch you next time.